For today's adventure, I find myself here in Dover, Ohio. Ladies and gentlemen, and today we are visiting the John Herzig funeral home for something very, very special. Now, this funeral home here isn't just any normal funeral home. It is also home to over 2,500 artifacts, from celebrities to musicians to innovators and also public figures. Today, ladies and gentlemen, we will be taking a tour of what the funeral home has here called the Famous Endings Museum. We're gonna go in and check this place out. Hello everybody, and welcome to today's adventure. As I had stated before, we are here in Dover, Ohio. We are visiting not only the John Herzig funeral home, but we are here for the Famous Endings Museum. I briefly touched on some of the things that this museum has. I met with the people inside beforehand, and they were very, very nice, and it kind of explained everything. And so what this museum is, it is artifacts from, celebrities, musicians, innovators, public figures, things that have been at their funerals, including pamphlets, wreaths, all kinds of stuff having to do with a celebrity death. So not only is this a museum, but this is an actual fully functioning funeral home. They are open today. They have normal hours every day, Monday through Friday, I believe, 9 to 5. So today we're gonna go in and check out this Famous Endings Museum and see just what everything they have. I hear they have over 2,500 artifacts, so that's a lot to cover. So let's get in there and see what we can get into. And right outside of the funeral home here, they have a beautiful display of a koi pond here. There's some fish in there, and then right over here it's a little waterfall hidden behind some bushes there. But there's a bench right here that says, "We can judge the heart of a man by his treatment of all God's creatures. Richard J. Herzig, 1975 to 2008. And right here is a John Herzig butterfly cement thing. No food or debris in pond. And I saw this little stone over here. I wanted to read what it says. If tears could build a stairway and memories a lane, I'd walk right up to heaven and bring you home again." That's beautiful. I love it. You can see some fish in there floating around. It's a beautiful day out. Can I just say that I absolutely love the entrance ramp here to one of the side entrances of the building. It's absolutely beautiful going up this way. And here we are, ladies and gentlemen, inside of the funeral home. Where we want to go is right here to the right. This room here is the beginning of the bulk of the Famous Endings Museum. Celebrities and everyday heroes. Starting off right here, we have Dean Martin, American singer, actor, and comedian, June 7th, 1917 to December 25th, 1995. Oh wow, Christmas Day. But here is a pamphlet and also the Dean Martin Celebrity Roasts, Men of the Hour, Bob Hope and Ronald Reagan. Here we have Jerry Lewis. He was an American comedian, entertainer, actor, and humanitarian. He was born March 16th, 1926, and he is known as the King of Comedy. And right here in this case, there is a photo of him right there wearing this hat. In this case here, We have Dean Martin and Jerry Lewis at war with the army. That's crazy. That's the actual hat that's in the picture. Very cool. This right here is Sammy Davis Jr., American entertainer, dancer, and singer, December 8th, 1925 to May 16th, 1990. Sammy Davis Jr. was known for his impersonations of actors and musicians. He died from throat cancer at the age of 64 and rests at the Forest Lawn Memorial Park in Glendale, California. And check this out. The Sammy Davis Jr. Memorial Concert, December 1st, 1990, Riviera Hotel, Las Vegas. And also a pamphlet right there of him. This here is Charles Chuck Berry. He was an American singer, songwriter, musician, and pioneer of rock and roll. And one of his famous songs, Johnny Be Good, featured in Back to the Future, one of his greatest songs. It says, Chuck Berry died at the age of 90 in his home following cardiac arrest. But this right here is a celebration of life booklet, the Rolling Stones magazine, and a guitar signed by Chuck Berry as well. That's awesome. Here is Gilda Radner, American comedian and actress, June 28th, 1946 to May 20th, 1989. She was an original cast member of Saturday Night Live, having won an Emmy Award for her performance in 1978. So right here is a little car, Saturday Night Live car, and the Gilda's Club pamphlet, and there's a note up there as well. This here is a rubbing of Jimi Hendrix's headstone where he is laid to rest. This is the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame describes him as arguably the greatest instrumentalist in the history of rock music. He is laid to rest in the Greenwood Cemetery in Renton, Washington. Shown below is a rubbing of his monument in Greenwood. So someone put this whole thing over his headstone and kind of like rubbed over it. Now they don't do that much anymore because over time, obviously, the materials used in making the headstone deteriorate, and so they've kind of changed the way they do things now. But this is the actual like rubbing from Jimi Hendrix's headstone. But there is a 30th anniversary at Woodstock. Here we have George Harrison, English musician, singer, songwriter, music and film producer, February 24th, 1943 to November 29th, 2001. He is the lead guitarist of the legendary British rock group The Beatles. And it says he died of lung cancer at the age of 58, and he was cremated. His ashes were scattered in the Ganges and Yamuna River in India following a private ceremony according to Hindu tradition. So this here concert for George, November 29th, 2002, the Royal Albert Ball, London, England, it says, along with a pamphlet there. So in this case here, we have a guitar signed by Les Paul. How High the Moon, I think that says, and also a pamphlet from his funeral services right there. That's cool. This here is a case of stuff from George Jones, known as the Possum. He's often referred to as the spirit of country music and the greatest living country singer. Jones died on April 26, 2013 at the age of 81 from hypoxic respiratory failure after recording more than 150 hits as both a solo artist and duets with other artists. He rests in Woodlawn Cemetery in Nashville. Check this out. It's actually signed right there. And we have like a VIP for the family, a celebration of life, like lanyard and thing there. And then in loving memory, George Jones. Wow. That badge there is pretty cool. Here we have Frank Sinatra, American singer, actor, director, and producer, December 12th, 1915 to May 14th, 1998. It says Sinatra died from a fatal heart attack at the age of 82 following his funeral mass at the Roman Catholic Church of the Good Shepherd in Beverly Hills. He was laid to rest in the Desert Memorial Park in Cathedral City, California. His monument reads, "The best is yet to come." Here's a funeral mass that was handed out. Below it says, "Give him eternal rest, O Lord, and may your light shine on him forever." All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Famous Endings Museum. And here we go into the biggest section of the museum here, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to do a quick walk around, and then I'm going to kind of pick some cool things to tell you, because there is a lot to cover in this room, and we still have a whole other area to cover as well out in the hallways and different rooms. But this is, as you can see, the main area here where, you know, celebrities, athletes, and musicians, all kinds of people in here, and all kinds of artifacts. So let's get into some really interesting stuff. So right here on this stand, they actually sell t-shirts. That's pretty cool. T-shirts are $20. There's two different designs. This one here is $12. You got that one there. And then we have this cool little mug. Where are they buried and how did they die? $15. So you can actually get some merch here too. In this case here, we have the pamphlet, The Order of Memorial Services for Samuel F.B. Morse, the creator of the Morse code. You can see the little button right there. Always makes you want to push it. But yeah, that's really cool. This is really neat. This is Walter Frederick Fred Morrison. He was an American inventor and entrepreneur, best known for his innovation of the Frisbee. So this guy here created the Frisbee. How cool is that? So this here is Leslie Towns. Bob Hope was an English-born American comedian, actor, singer, and dancer who grew up in Cleveland and whose career spanned over 80 years. Says Hope died at the age of 100 on July 27, 2003. Among those who eulogized Hope at his funeral was comedian and friend Phyllis Diller. Famous Endings acquired Diller's funeral programs and artifacts from the service. So check this out. We have a parking pass there, placed on driver's side windshield. A photo there. Memorial Mass for Bob Hope. Wow. This is really cool. This is Stanley Kubrick. He was an American film director, screenwriter, and producer. He is regarded as one of the greatest and most influential directors of all time. Among his notable works were The Shining, Paths of Glory, Lolita, 2001: Space Odyssey, and Clockwork Orange. He was 70 years old. He suffered a heart attack. But Directors Guild of America presents a memorial tribute to Stanley Kubrick. Photo of him there. Here we have John Belushi, American comedian, actor, musician, January 24th, 1949 to March 5th, 1982. He was one of the original cast members of Saturday Night Live. He was known for his intense energy on set. He died at the age of 33 from an overdose of cocaine and heroin. He rests in the Abels Hill Cemetery in chill mark on Martha's Vineyard, Massachusetts. In memoriam. Beloved husband John Adam Belushi there. Hey, this is really cool. Humphrey Bogart was a legendary screen actor who had leading roles in some of the most famous films in history, including The Maltese Falcon, Casablanca, and The Big Sleep. He died at the age of 57 on January 14th, 1957, from esophageal cancer. Following his funeral, Bogart was cremated and rests in the Forest Lawn Memorial Park in Glendale, California. Displayed is the original crypt marker from Forest Lawn. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, his crypt is off limits to the public. You can't even get to it out in Forest Lawn. But this was the original crypt marker. That's really cool. And here we have Miss Elizabeth Taylor, British-American actress, February 27, 1932 to March 23, 2011. Throughout her 62-year career, she received more than 40 awards, honors, and nominations. Wow. She won 2 Best Actress awards and was nominated 6 times. She began her acting career at the age of 12. Liz died at the age of 79 and rests in the Forest Lawn Memorial Park in Glendale. So check out these pamphlets here. These are beautiful. They're like purple and white. Elizabeth Taylor. Yeah. Sunday, October 16th, 2011. Warner Brothers Studios, Burbank, California. Wow. Please join us to celebrate the remarkable life, incredible spirit, and enduring legacy of Elizabeth Taylor. Here is a case. We have honoring the life and career of Stanley Kramer, 1913 to 2001. Down here it says, "Let it be noted, this is what we stand for: justice, truth, and the value of a single human being." There's a little pamphlet there, and another little pamphlet there as well. Over here, a couple other pamphlets. We have Richard Walter Jenkins, in loving memory of Matthew Stymie Beard. Grace Patricia Kelly, Lionel Barrymore. So right here in this case are 2 shell casings from the artillery salute during the funeral of President Dwight D. Eisenhower in 1969. These shell casings are 105 millimeter and fired at Dugway Proving Grounds in Utah. Most military bases fired as many as 50 similar rounds to honor the passing of the former president. The one on the left is the 50th round. The one on the right is the 21st round. Oh wow, check this out. They even have a pamphlet from Chris Kyle's memorial ceremony right there in memory of Chris Kyle at the Cowboys Stadium in Arlington, Texas. Right here is a in memoriam pamphlet of Theodore Roosevelt, and up there is the memorial of Theodore Roosevelt, the Program of Arrangements. So this here is George Washington. He was a leader of the Continental Army during the American Revolution and is most remembered as the first president of the United States. He is known as the father of his country, and he spoke his final words, "'Tis well," and died on December 14th, 1799 at the age of 67. His cause of death has been debatable, but he suffered from a severe inflammation of his upper airway. Following his funeral, he was laid to rest in a tomb in Mount Vernon, Virginia. So this here is an oration on the sublime virtues of General George Washington. And that looks like a newspaper article. And here we have Franklin Delano Roosevelt. He was the longest serving U.S. president, having led our country through the Great Depression and World War II. Nicknamed FDR, He died on April 12, 1945, following a cerebral hemorrhage at the age of 63 at his home in Warm Springs, Georgia. He rests at his family's home in Hyde Park, New York. This is a Franklin Delano Roosevelt pamphlet there, along with a photo of the funeral procession. And here is Ronald Reagan, American actor, politician, and President of the United States from February 6, 1911, June 5th, 2004. Here are some pamphlets. To the Honorable Ronald Wilson Reagan, 40th President of the United States of America. There's a book there, a little photo, and his casket. Now this is really cool. This is a carriage lantern from the horse-drawn hearse used during a funeral procession for President Abraham Lincoln in Albany, New York. The hearse was used to transport the president's body to and from the train. All right, there is the pamphlet. But look at this. This was on Abe Lincoln's horse-drawn hearse. That's crazy, but that is so cool. Here is a memorial service commemorating the 100th anniversary of the death of George Washington. Church of the Epiphany, G Street, 1899. Wow. And there's a Lincoln Dioramic Association Certificate of Admission. This is a disclosure or discourse of this here is a discourse at the funeral solemn nights of the decease of William Henry Harrison. The Gerald R. Ford pamphlet, the 38th president. There's also a photo as well, and a little bit of a coin. And this here is a joint memorial service, Calvin Coolidge. And down here is a pamphlet with Lyndon B. Johnson on it. All of our family deeply appreciate your prayers and sympathy during our greatest sorrow. And there's a booklet for the service of Richard Nixon. This is Woodrow Wilson pamphlet, the program memorial service. And there is a special train to Cleveland, the Friday, October 7th, 1881. Jas A. Garfield. And here is Jackie Robinson, American baseball player, January 31st, 1919 to October 24th, 1972. He was inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame in 1962. He received the Presidential Medal of Freedom. Jackie Robinson died of a heart attack at the age of 53 and rests in the Cypress Hills Cemetery in Brooklyn, New York. This is a in memoriam pamphlet here. The Riverside Church, New York City, 12 noon. This is pretty cool. James Doohan was a Canadian actor who is most remembered for his role as Montgomery Scott on the television and film series Star Trek. The catchphrase, "Beam me up, Scotty," became quite popular as a result of the series. Scotty died on July 20th, 2005 from Parkinson's disease, along with other contributory causes. A Beam Me Up Scotty ceremony was held following his death, and in attendance received a ceremonial flashlight. He was cremated, and a portion of his cremated remains were sent into space. So that's the flashlight that they would have got at the ceremony. In this case here, we have a memorial service pamphlet and a booklet, a celebration of life of Neil Armstrong at the Washington National Cathedral, Thursday, September 13th, 2012 at 10 a.m. Wink at the Moon, August 29th, 2012. And there's his picture there, Neil Alden Armstrong, one small step. So it looks like in here we have some artifacts from some religious figures. Dr. Armand Hammer. We have Pope John Paul I, General William Booth, Mother Teresa of Calcutta, Pope John Paul II, and Jane Lathrop Stanford. But down here in this case is this piece of cloth is from the head garment called a sari, hopefully I'm pronouncing that right, which was worn by Mother Teresa. It is on loan from Jill Ift, a John Herzig staff member. So that was worn by Mother Teresa. And everybody knows Lucille Ball from I Love Lucy. Check this out. This is the pamphlet from her memorial service. Happy now are the dead who die in the Lord. They shall find rest, for their good works accompany them. Memorial Mass, May 8th, 1989. Lucille Ball. And there is a magazine, Lucy, We Love You. The special memorial issue right there is a photo of her. Rare photos, Lucy's last interview. This case here is a pamphlet memorial service for Joan Rivers, 1933 to 2014. She authored 12 books. She died on September 4, 2014 at the age of 81 from complications from minor surgery on her throat. So right here is Leslie Nielsen, February 11th, 1926 to November 28th, 2010. Painting by Margaret Nielsen. And this quote down here from Clarence Darrow says, I've never been much for organized religion or anything else that tells people what they ought to believe and what will happen to them if they don't. The fear of God or anything else is not the beginning of wisdom. Better to have doubt. But here is a pack of facial tissue from Leslie Nielsen's funeral. It says, this is supposed to be a fun night. Love and laughs. Leslie. I actually did a video on his gravesite when I was in Florida quite some years ago. I will link the video in the description below. You can go and check that out. But right over here we have Mr. John Wayne. That's a little bit of a paper there. It says, in loving memory of John Wayne, June 11th, 1979. At the Laguna Hills Mortuary. And that is his headstone. A picture of his headstone there. And up here is in memoriam of John Wayne. Card right there. And down here is Robert Oppenheimer, The Brain Behind the Bomb. It's the book, and that must be one of the pamphlets that were given away there. That's awesome. And in this case here we have Sherry Lewis. She was an American ventriloquist and puppeteer. She was also a children's entertainer and television host. Her most popular character was Lamb Chop. Lewis died on August 2nd, 1998 at the age of 68 from uterine cancer. Those who attended her funeral received a Lamb Chop doll and a memorial pen. So that's what they would have received right there. A little Lamb Chop doll and that memorial pen. One of the most recognizable books we have right here, The Cat and the Hat, written by Dr. Seuss. This is a case that has a Dr. Seuss book, The Cat in the Hat, obviously, and a celebration of life of Theodore Seuss Geisel at the James S. Copley Auditorium in San Diego, the Museum of Art, November 18th, 1991. The creator of Cat in the Hat. Here we have an Andy Warhol, a memorial mass pamphlet, Wednesday, April 1st, 1987 at the St. Patrick's Cathedral. And it just goes on to talk about like the scriptures and the speakers and stuff. But check this out. It's one of his drawings. And then in loving memory of Al Hirschfield. Sorry about the shadow. Chuck Jones, a tribute, 1912 to 2002. And then a Bob Clampett drawing right there. Leroy Neiman was a world-renowned artist known for his brilliant expressionist paintings. He is known for his representations of sporting and high-profile events that included the Kentucky Derby, Super Bowl games, and famous golf matches. His creations were often seen in popular magazines as well as Wheatie boxes. He died June 20th, 2012 at the age of 91. And we have a Wheaties box here. How cool is that? And Janis Joplin was an American singer and songwriter who rose to fame as lead singer of Big Brother and the Holding Company. She performed in the historic Woodstock Festival, and her work remains popular today. She was honored in a special edition of the Rolling Stone magazine. And that's the magazine there that she was issued in. She was honored in. And in this case here, we have some musician artifacts. We have a Buck Owens pamphlet. We have Buddy Holly here. And then a John Lennon pamphlet, Come Together. We have Buddy Rich here. We have Sam Cooke. And this is really cool. Johnny Cash is my favorite country singer. The Johnny Cash Memorial Tribute. And then the family of Elvis Aaron Presley acknowledges with grateful appreciation your kind expression of sympathy from the Elvis family. And then that there. And here are some artifacts from Whitney Houston, American singer, actress, producer, and model, August 9th, 1963 to February 11th, 2012. The cause of death was drowning due to heart disease and cocaine. She was 48 years old. Following her funeral service at the New Hope Baptist Church in Newark, New Jersey, she was laid to rest in the Fairview Cemetery in Westfield, New Jersey. So here are some pamphlets from her service, 1963 to 2012. With heartfelt gratitude, the Houston family requests the honor of your presence at the homegoing service for Whitney Elizabeth Houston. Oh, wow. So everybody knows who Toto the dog is, right? From Wizard of Oz? He was in 16 movies, and he died at the age of 11 on September 1st, 1945. A permanent memorial was dedicated to him at Hollywood Forever Cemetery in Los Angeles. Take a look at this. In memory of Toto, we dedicate your new home. Rest in peace, dear friend. Now, I know he had an original resting place, and I know that they ended up constructing, I want to say, the 405 over his resting place. So instead, Hollywood Forever decided to make a little dedication to him there at the cemetery. Now this here is really interesting. This is a headrest used by The Undertaker for the funeral of outlaw Jesse James. Jesse James was shot by Bob Ford in 1882. DJ Heaton was the Undertaker for the funeral in St. Joseph, Missouri. So this was what Jesse James had his head on when they were doing the funeral. And here we have a figure of Steve Jobs and a couple pamphlets, a remembrance service, which was in Stanford, California, October 16th. And then right there is a To the Crazy Ones. It's more of like a poem, but it's still pretty cool. And here's a pamphlet from Robert L. Evans, known as Bob Evans, the creator of Bob Evans' Breakfast Restaurant. He rests in Mountain Hill Cemetery in Gallipolis, Ohio. The first of his new restaurants began in Chillicothe. Oh wow, I didn't know that. André Cassignus was a French inventor, electrical technician, and toy maker. He started out as a kite designer, but is best known as the inventor of the Etch-a-Sketch. So there's the article of the obituary, the inventor of the Etch-a-Sketch. And there's even an Etch-a-Sketch in here as well. All right, going into the hallway now. We'll check out some of the stuff here. Lyndon B. Johnson hat. In this case here, the Western Union Telegram. John F. Kennedy candlelight procession and tribute. We got some Ronald Reagan stuff here. Nancy Davis Reagan. We got Teddy Roosevelt and Sir Knight William McKinley, who is actually buried not too far from here. Dwight D. Eisenhower. We got Richard Nixon, Warren G. Harding. So this whole case is pretty much like presidential stuff. We got Gerald Ford here. We have a certification of this belt worn by a military body bearer. Let's see, some more pamphlets. We got George H. Bush, Barbara Bush. We got James Carter, Rosalind Carter, Carter's funeral staff, Warren G. Harding funeral service pamphlet, Harry Truman pamphlet, Woodrow Wilson. Oh wow, yeah, that's really interesting, this whole case here. This here is a in memory of Michael Jackson poster, August 29th, 1958 to June 25th, 2009, memorial service July 7th, 2009 at 10 a.m. at the Staples Center in Los Angeles. My goal in life is to give to the world what I was lucky to receive, the ecstasy of divine union through my music and my dance. So this was at Michael Jackson's memorial service. This is really cool here. This is a hometown newspaper that hung in the former James Dean Museum in Fairmont that closed in December 2005. James Dean, a rebel without a cause. This is an original newspaper article. Oh wow, so in this other room across from the main museum, they have a whole Elvis Presley section here, and it's showing the obituaries, surviving and late deceased relatives. Just some paperwork. All right, so checking out this other room here, up top they have a banner remembering Davy Jones from the Monkees, 1945 to 2012. Love still abides. And ladies and gentlemen, we're about to check out history in these cases here. I see some very, very, important items. We're just going to start off with the left side and work our way to the right. We'll start with the left here. We have John Madden. Right there is an all access. One more Monday night in Oakland, a celebration of John Madden badge there with the shirt. It's got some pins on it. We got the Madden 13 video game for Xbox 360. And then here is a Mr. Clean doll, a celebration of the resurrection in memory of H. Richard Black. And then Harry Chapin, Harry, keep the change. Oh, cool. And then down here in the back, that is a pamphlet from Richard Benjamin Harrison from Pawn Stars, The Old Man. Wow, March 4th, 1941 to June 25th, 2018. Wow. Did not think that that was in here. And then over here we have the story of a father's love for his son, Dick Hoyt, with Don Yeager. So yeah, they just, let's just see, it's a good life, is what it says. And then Uncle Wiggly Wings here, my love and admiration for Berlin's Candy Bomber. Oh, that's cool. This is a pamphlet for George Edward Foreman, the Foreman Grill, and also he was a boxer. Stopping Bullets with a Thread, Stephanie Kwellick. Pamphlets in a book there. The Flip of a Coin. The story of Tommy Alsop. A bit of a pamphlet there. And then Tie a Yellow Ribbon Round the Old Oak Tree. Penelope B. Langen. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. Langen. And down here we have Willard Herman Scott Jr. The older the fiddle, the better the tune. Let's see. Jack Dempsey, Robin Leach, Davy Jones Memorial. And right here is Albert Lexie. Albert's Kids, the heroic work of Shining Shoes for Children. Larry Hagman. There's a glare, sorry. So this is really, really interesting. This is Kobe Bryant and Gianna Bryant artifacts here. We have Celebration of Life pamphlet book there. We have a Lakers lanyard. And then the Celebration of Life lanyard badge there. Over here is a football. The Vikings Fred Cox. And then on the second row we have Richie Havens. Clayton Moore, Whitney Houston, back there. And then Whatever Happened to Paint by Numbers, Dan Robbins. I can't read that. Mesa Esquile, in memory of William Buckwheat Thomas, the Ote from Little Rascals. Billy Graham, and then I saw something right here that actually caught my eye. You guys know that I'm a big fan of Fast and the Furious and Paul Walker. Look what they have. They have his booklet from his funeral service. Rest in peace, P-Dub. That's crazy. That really makes me kind of emotional seeing that, in all honesty. That's like, aside from being at his grave, that's like the next thing closest to like, being close to him and whatnot. At least I feel like it is. But down here, we have green bean casserole. Yeah. Number 32, is that Jimmy Brown? Yeah, Jim Brown. Okay, then Chuck Yeager over here in a 60 Minutes coffee mug. All right, so this case over here has a Prince t-shirt. It looks like a pamphlet of sorts, a booklet, and then another booklet of life, the Celebration of Life, Prince Rogers Nelson. Oh, wow. And then right here in memory of Robert Leo Holtzman, the creator of the solo cups, we got Ted Williams over here. Oh, that's oh, what's his name? Can you get me off the hook for old time's sake? Oh, that's the dude from The Godfather. Okay. Anthony Mancinelli. Olivia Newton-John. In loving memory, Michael Jim Delegati, the creator of the Big Mac. In loving memory of John F. Kennedy Jr., Carolyn Bassett Kennedy, Lauren Bassett, and then a Farrah Fawcett pamphlet there. Tommy Smothers, and Aretha Franklin, the Queen of Soul booklet there. In loving memory, Little Jimmy Dickens, Colin Powell booklet, along with his photo that's actually signed. And down here is really cool, the Undertaker, but that is Paul Bearer. Rest in peace, Paul Bearer. He actually passed away. That's his autograph there and his pamphlet from his memorial. We have Tim Conway right there. Harry Belafonte. He wrote the Banana Boat song, Deo, like Beetlejuice. And this is a book, Chris Kyle, the Memorial Edition, American Sniper. I am a member of Arnie's Army, Arizona Tea, and Toni Morrison. Here's a Access Hollywood in memory of Betty White shirt. And check this out. This is a Betty White autograph. How cool is that? Rest in peace, Betty White. I can't tell what's really back there. Let's see. His journeys first began. Oh. Theodore Van Kirk. We have Wayne Huizenga, football player. Looks like this side is sports over here, possibly. Dr. Charles Luther Sifford. We got Gene Wilder right there. J. Peter Frace, baseball player. The Ice Bucket Challenge book. George Smith Lindsay. Goober in a Nutshell. Neil Peart, the drummer of Rush. And down here, Roy Orbison, Leroy Naaman, Willie Mays, Bobby Bowden, and a Flamingos Dawn Featherstone celebrating the life of the coal miner's daughter. So yeah, they have a really cool case in here full of artifacts. I really like the Kobe and the Paul Walker stuff. That's crazy.
I'll just give you the floor and you can look at it. Yeah, there you go.
Oh my gosh. Oh wow. That, I don't even know what to feel about this right now. It's Hammond Meadow. This is the actual pamphlet from Paul Walker's funeral. Wow, always in our hearts. 1973 to 2013. Check this out. When you put goodwill out there, it's amazing what can be accomplished. Paul Walker. That's him right there. In loving memory, Paul William Walker. Ashley, Caleb, Cody, Neil Moritz. I never thought I would actually see one of these in person. Check this out. This is Wyatt Earp. Y'all remember Tombstone, right? One of the best movies ever made. That's what his badge looks like. And right to the right, Doc Holliday. 2 guns there in his portrait. And right here we have the New York Times canvas. Fraser floors Ali in 15th and keeps title. The homegoing celebration of Joseph Fraser, Smokin' Joe. See right there, there's some Smokin' Joe Fraser artifacts here. We have some pamphlets, obviously the booklet right there, and this is a canvas print. And then the obituary as well, and I like how they have like turnbuckles going around the picture frame as well. All right, so right here we have Florence Nightingale. We have P.T. Barnum. And then Henry and Clara Ford pamphlets. Harry Houdini. And these are all, this is like guest books. Charles Dillon Stengel, Robert Leroy Ripley, a memorial tribute to Betty Davis, I Wish You Love, 1908 to 1989. All right, so this here is what they call the Ohio Room. These are all having to do with presidents from Ohio. These are records of the McKinley Memorial Service. See, down here is Bertle. It says Bertle on it. Roy Bertle. Yep. And this is William McKinley. Goodbye, all goodbye, it's God's way, his will be done, not ours. And then right over here we have some old newspaper articles. Body of the nation's fallen chief, tenderly consigned to the tomb. And this is a giant star of William McKinley. This was, let me read a little bit about it. Famous ending collection include an original invitation and funeral program, Morning Star, Our Comrade flag, and the framed memorial. So yeah, William McKinley. So that would be the flag. So yeah, this whole, they said they were turning this room into pretty much like an all Ohio president's room. And here is a photo of Larry King, his autograph, and to the left, in this case here, we have Larry King's suspenders given to Dick Enberg, December of 2010. It says for Dick, the best, Larry King. Okay, so in this case here, we have Walter Cronkite, we have Farrah Fawcett, Nelson Mandela, Paul Harvey, we have Bobby Kennedy, Paul Newman, Lena Mary Calhoun Horn, Barbara Billingsley. She was on Leave It to Beaver. And down here we have an interment round from the funeral of John F. Kennedy, Andy Griffith, Don Knotts, Lou Grasso, Lou the Toe Grasso. That's cool. So in this frame here, This is the celebration of life of Muhammad Ali. Check out some of the pictures and stuff they have here. It says certified authentic signature and original memorial service program and pen, June 10th, 2016. So there's the pen, memorial service program, and his actual signature. That's cool. This is Lillian Asplin. She was the last American survivor of the Titanic. Oh wow. And the last survivor with actual memories of it sinking. That's crazy. And over here we have Father Michael Judge. There's a book there. George S. Patton. We have Ernie Davis. And down here we have Tim Russert. These are like all pamphlets and books. We have Vince Lombardi. And in this case here, we have the pamphlet for Roald Amundsen. We have Andrew Carnegie, Eleanor Roosevelt, and Albert Einstein. And then this here is the instrument that was played at FDR's funeral. It's the accordion. The picture became famous of the gentleman here crying, Graham Jackson's accordion. All right, everybody, that is going to conclude today's tour of the Famous Endings Museum here at the Tolland Herzig Funeral Home in Dover, Ohio. I highly recommend checking this place out if you're in the area. Admission is completely free. They do take donations. There is a donation box inside of the museum area. Now let me be the first to say that this was an emotional yet interesting experience. I say emotional because everybody knows that I'm a huge Paul Walker fan. You know, Fast and the Furious has always been my thing. So getting to hold the Paul Walker funeral service pamphlet in my own hands definitely made me really emotional. Like, I legit started tearing up. It was wild. But, you know, seeing the Kobe Bryant stuff, Humphrey Bogart, I love all the movie stuff, so that was really cool to see. All the musician stuff, the guitars, political figures, religious figures, innovators, stuff like that. It's a really cool experience. I definitely recommend checking it out if that's your thing, or if you're just trying to pass some time. Come by and check it out. They're open pretty much every day, I believe 9 to 5. You can just come in, come up this ramp here, and the museum is right inside to the right, and the staff here is very friendly. I met the owner, John, and he was very informative, very nice, just kept asking questions, and he was telling me a little bit about the history of this place. You know, I spoke with some other staff members. Extremely informative, very nice. So a huge thank you to you guys for everything that you did today, and I think that's gonna be it. I definitely recommend checking this place out if you're in the area. It's neat. It's different, but it's neat. So that being said, guys, I think we're gonna end things here again. Thank you so much for watching. I greatly appreciate it. And as always, take care, be safe. We'll see you on the next one. And that is history documented, my friends. We'll see you on the next one.